When Brigham Young hosted a Christmas Eve party in 1856, his wish was to invite Latter-day Saints from all over the world. Since then, that wish has been fulfilled. Today, the Christmas devotional is carried live on the church's satellite system and translated into more than 90 languages. It's one of the unique connections author Laura Willis makes in her new book, Christmas with the Prophets. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning, Kathy.
I read this book cover to cover last night. Absolutely loved it. So many stories I've never heard of before. How did you come up with the idea?
Well, I serve as a docent at the Church History Museum. And 2 years ago, a group came in and wanted a tour, Christmas with the Prophets. Well, we didn't have such a tour. But I mumbled through with a few things that I could remember, and the more I thought about it, the more it seemed good that this was a wonderful project that needed to be developed.
And so it was.
I did it.
Yeah, you did a wonderful job.
You
give some very interesting history on how the prophets did spend their Christmas time. And I had no idea in one of the stories that you had John Taylor spent a Christmas underground?
He did. The brethren were being persecuted for polygamy, and he was president of the church. He decided that he would go underground to save the fuss and to avoid his captors. So he did, and when Christmas rolled around that year, he was staying at the home of Bishop Charles Adams in Parowan, Utah. And he loved to be in that home because there were little children in the home. And at night he would put them on his lap and sing to them and tell them stories. And when Christmas rolled around and all the family was opening gifts, he was thrilled and touched to learn that Sister Adams had knitted him a pair of stockings. Well, he was so delighted that right then and there in the living room, he took off his shoes and his stockings and he said to the children, "See, I have the very best gift of all, a nice pair of stockings to keep my Tootsie Wootsies warm." And of course, they blushed a little bit and laughed. And then they said, "President, Tootsie Wootsies are baby feet. They're not the feet of old man." And of an old man, and he said, "But I'm the one being babied here."
Yes, great experience. And you also have the story of how Brigham Young loved to spend Christmas around dancing.
Oh, that was one of his favorite activities. He said that besides good exercise, he loved dancing because he had all of the people's troubles and he could kick them off his toes by dancing. So he enjoyed that very much.
And one of my favorite stories I read was George Albert Smith with his Christmas stocking, the very big Christmas stocking.
This was his tradition. He had fun with Santa Claus, Kathy, and he, every year after the children had hung their stockings, he would say, wait a minute, I have to hang my stocking." And he would always bring a very big stocking and hang it up. But on Christmas morning, the children were very disappointed because in his stocking, there was coal and vegetables and kindling. They thought that Santa didn't treat their father very well.
And obviously he did.
Yes.
He did. And not to overlook the women, speaking of George Albert Smith, the tithing story with his wife. Can you share that one quickly?
Oh, George Albert Smith was not well for much of his life, and one Christmas especially, he had been ill most of the year, and so the family was in a little bit of financial difficulty. Lucy was taking care of things, and she realized that she hadn't paid her tithing, and she knew she needed to pay it, but she also realized that if she paid her tithing, she wouldn't have money for Christmas. But nevertheless, she went to the bishop and paid her tithing, coming home with a very heavy heart. But on her way home, a neighbor stopped her and said, "Sister Smith, I've been thinking that this must be a very difficult year for you, and here's just a little Christmas gift for you to have Christmas with." It was a check, and she stuffed it in her pocket, but when she got home, she found out that the check was for exactly the amount that she had paid in tithing.
So she told the
children, yes, she told the children that was their tithing Christmas.
Laura, thank you so much. It's a great book, Christmas with the Prophets. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.